content has no shame. And Lucy's tight box comes in first. Lucy does dabble, Lucy does dabbleverse. Lucy does dabble, Lucy does dabbleverse. Lucy does dabbleverse. Lucy tight box brings the facts, and she breaks them down for us. Lucy does dabbleverse. La la la, Lucy has a tight box and she shares it with dabblers. No, not like that, but she does this show for us. Lucy does dabble, Lucy does dabbleverse. 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 Yes, she does. Yes, she do it. Lucy does dabbleverse. Yes, she does. Lucy does dabbleverse. Lucy does dabbleverse, she does. Lucy does dabbleverse, she does. Lucy does dabbleverse.
Hello, welcome dabblers to another episode of Lucy Does Dabbleverse, and I am very excited today to be joined by somebody who is not Zen, which at least one person in the comments was hoping that it would be. Instead, it's Karl from Who Are These Podcasts? Karl, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. You have to wait to the next episode of Lucy Does Dabbleverse to see Zen, unfortunately.
That is absolutely accurate. But the reason that you are here today is because you are one of the experts on the topic that we will be covering tonight, which of course is the true success story of Aaron Imholte.
Aaron Imholte was spent this week in jail. He's free now. He was freed a little before he was supposed to be, but it's a wild ride and a crazy story that brought him to jail this week.
It really, truly is. And not only that, he is so unbeatable, but he even treated his jail sentence as a win. So we are going to be introducing you. Many of you probably are already familiar with Aaron Imholte of Steel Toe Morning Show, who is a podcaster and inmate. And we are going to see how he won his wonderful jail sentence and how he got there. We're going to be covering the entire story today. And in order to do that, we need to start out with who exactly is Aaron? And Karl, you might be more familiar with who exactly is Aaron than almost anybody other than Patrick Melton. But I'll start out by saying that he is a former radio personality from St. Cloud, Minnesota. And he started his YouTube show, I want to say. Is that the best way to describe what Steel Toe Morning Show is?
He went to Twitch first when he was fired from the radio. But he was in St. Cloud. He was a morning jock in St. Cloud, the 200th largest market in the U.S. as far as radio markets go. So a very small market. And he was the host of a show where he sold his own advertising. And, you know, Lucy and I live in Rochester. It's not the biggest market, but it is top 100. Of all the people who are on the radio, none of them are also in the sales department. It's a very distinct line between on-air personality and sales team. But Aaron did both.
Aaron is, again, that's another win for the toe, I think that we might say. You skipped over something that I do want to talk just a little bit about, which is that his radio career, right? So he stopped doing radio in late 2020 due to some on-air remarks that were directed at a female radio host on another station. And I'm still not entirely clear on if he resigned or if he was forcibly fired. Do you have any insight onto what ended the actual radio career?
I mean, if he resigned, he was told to resign. That's how that goes.
Yeah.
But basically, there was a job in Des Moines, Iowa on a morning show. So that would be a much larger market. And a woman got the job over him. And so he started dedicating his show to trashing this woman and trying to get his audience to fuck with her on her show. And it got to a point, I've heard a lot of the clips of what he was saying about her, and it was serious harassment. Aaron, he emulated Anthony Cumia from Opie and Anthony, and Opie and Anthony would do this Jocktober bit where their fans, the pests, would go on and mess with the radio shows that they were making fun of. The difference is Opie and Anthony didn't say like, hey, go to their Facebook page and harass them and spam them and do this stuff. They would just do that sort of thing. Whereas Aaron would actually order people to do things to harass this woman, and his bosses didn't look too kindly on that, because especially when you're harassing a woman because she got the job that you wanted.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly look great. He was trying to be edgy, but instead he was just being a douche, I think is probably the best way to describe his ending of his radio career. And the whole reason I think that we can agree that he started Steel Toe Morning Show was because he wanted to continue that career. His dreams, his aspirations are to be a radio show host, which is absolutely insane in the year of 2025.
He is talking frequently about getting back on the radio. And even when he tells us about the meetings that he has with people at the radio stations that he wants to get on, they tell him we have no money and there's really no jobs. And he thinks that they're lying to him, or that this is just a bump in the road and radio's going to make a huge comeback and he'll be there for it.
It's not possible. It's absolutely not possible. Now, the story of Aaron cannot be told without understanding a little bit of his history as this radio host and what he's doing now. But in addition to that, we really can't tell the story without talking to his now ex-wife, April Imholte. So she is an online personal trainer and fitness entrepreneur and a mom of 4 kids, I think.
April? No. Who are we talking about? April has no kids.
No kids, but she still attributes kids to herself, doesn't she?
No. Oh. April's his second wife. So Ashley had 3 children with. Okay. April is the second wife. She wasn't she was working at a factory when Aaron saved her from that and brought her onto his show so that she could be a second mic.
She becomes co-host of Steel Toe Morning Show. Right, absolutely.
Yes.
I thought, and maybe I misunderstood all of the research I was doing, but I thought that she really did take on the second role as mom to his kids, to supporting things.
Okay, so Moody says wrong April Imholte. You might have looked up a different April Imholte who has
dang
those
it all.
attributes.
Moody is...
I will say this, though. So when Aaron proposed to April,
yes.
So he has 3 kids from his previous marriage, and he had his kids hand her the engagement ring and say, will you be our new forever mommy?
Yes.
So this was a very big thing for Aaron, because he's confessed in private messages that he hates being around his children by himself. And so he needed April to come in and be the mom to his kids so that he could fuck off and watch football.
See, that's why I believed everything else. It's so obviously believable. And obviously she looks like a fitness entrepreneur. Well, I don't think that we can continue the story now that I've been corrected about that without really starting to look into the newscasts that have got brought out after Aaron ran into some legal troubles. So let's take a peek at that.
A local podcaster is now facing charges for something he allegedly did while live streaming his show. Aaron Imholte is the host of the Steel Toe Morning Show that has been on the air for at least a decade. Fox 9's Karen Scullin joins us now to explain what is happening here. Karen?
37-year-old Aaron Imholte made his first court appearance this morning for disseminating private sexual images without consent. But he appeared to do this while actually live streaming.
I bet you thought I wasn't coming. Welcome to the show. It's me. It's 30.
So I just love that this very professional news broadcast chose to use Aaron in his hack comedian shirt as a part of their clip package.
I mean, everything about this is amateur hour. And this is the set that he went to. He's not with this set anymore. But he had a decent looking set behind him with his logo in the background. And, it was him with April or whatever other co-host would come in to the studio with him. And then he decided to turn it into divorced dad's basement. That's just kind of it needs the tender love and touch of a woman to come in here and be like, we don't need this jersey hanging off the wall. And what are these toys you have behind you? And
you don't like My Pillow getting hugged? Come on. That
a random
screams
whiteboard.
Bachelor.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's beautiful with the chicken scratch all over it every single time.
37-year-old Aaron Imholte, the host of the Steel Toe Morning Show, a YouTube podcast with about 13,000 subscribers. But one of Imholte's May shows has him in some legal trouble. He was reported for sending a photo of a naked woman that he knows to a person joining him on the podcast. That woman reported the situation to police, and now Imholte faces criminal charges.
Did you check? I like tattoos more than I think. Your boy didn't do too bad, did he?
Again, the news broadcast choosing to zoom into his face for this moment, it's genius.
Yeah, typically local news is not produced this well, but
No.
they really had an A+ on this one.
They went all out for this crazy story, which was probably a relatively large story in St. Cloud, Minnesota.
Well, Aaron made some enemies too, so I will say that in the broadcast media community, there could have been some people who were like, oh, Aaron fucked up? Yeah, we want to make sure that this is a big news.
Yeah, it needs to be known. Everybody needs to know about this particular situation.
Yes.
And those words are now part of a criminal complaint against Imholte. The court documents describe a relationship breakdown between Imholte and 3 others. He started disparaging them publicly on his show back in April before sending the nude photo in May.
So that is going to be the entire story that we are going to be getting into today, is how exactly he messed up so badly that he sent an on-air photograph of a naked woman as an act of revenge porn in order to land himself in jail. It is rare that a podcaster truly does talk himself into jail on air.
I mean, it's almost unprecedented.
Yeah.
I don't know of
think
another example of this, that someone on their podcast. I've definitely seen people do things where they get themselves in a lot of trouble and civil suits and things like that. But most of the time, the jail is not a part of anything that people do when they're running their podcast.
Yeah, usually if it's happening, it's due to like domestic abuse. It's not because of something like this. I mean, this is just a completely insane story. So we are going to be talking about, in order to be able to talk about the story, we need to go back to December of 2023 and talk about when Aaron Imholte and his wife April go on vacation in Las Vegas, and they have conversations about opening up their marriage. So
Yes.
You know quite a bit about that. Will you describe exactly the goings on of that time period?
So in October of 23, Aaron and April met Nick Rekieta and Kayla Rekieta at a comedy show. Nick was coming in to fill in for Chrissy Mayer, who couldn't make it, and Chrissy was supposed to be headlining it. So she knew Nick and decided to reach out because he's not that far. They're both in rural Minnesota. And so Nick comes down to do the show. These two couples meet for the first time. Nick Rekieta is a law tuber who I know pretty well because he was part of Dick Masterson's show and the original Lowell suit, where Maddox sued Dick Masterson for $20 million. And so Nick started covering that on YouTube, became a pretty famous law tuber. Aaron and April saw like, wow, this guy's got a lot more subs than us, a lot more views than we do. It'd be really great if we could team up with these two and, use their clout to get more eyeballs on us. So fast forward a couple months, Aaron and April.
They didn't just want to use their clout, right?
Well, I mean, at first
maybe
they probably
not at
did.
that point. Yeah, maybe not at that point, but eventually,
at
more
first
is going to be used.
they're looking at subs at first.
Yeah.
But yeah, fast forward and they go on vacation to Vegas, and that's when Aaron introduces this concept for the first time. Like, what if we open up our marriage and, start to swap or see other people, but continue to have our marriage? And April was open to that. She famously was not satisfied by her husband. There's clips of that go around that you can see where April complains about not being able to come
orgasm.
Orgasm. I guess you could say that's probably the correct term for it. So there's probably a thing with April going, yeah, I wouldn't mind getting some other dick. And so they decided to make this happen. They come back in December, and that's when the wife swapping first begins with the Rekietas and the Imholtes.
Yes. Yes. And I think it was probably a pretty exciting time because, like you said, not only was it the wife swapping, but also they had Nick Rekieta, who is not only an attorney, but this very high profile law tuber. So, like you said, he has all the subs, and coincidentally, he's living in Minnesota, not that far away. This is like a match made in heaven, these two couples. They are so excited. And the four of them decide that they're basically just going to have an enjoyable time getting content and getting high and getting naked, because drugs do become a huge portion of the story as well.
Yeah. At this time, Nick, and I mean, he's admitted to this and has subsequently been arrested himself. Nick was pretty big into cocaine and Molly and alcohol. And so, they have kids, and Aaron has kids. And so they'd get together on the weekends, and the kids would all play, and they would get into it. they would do the wife swapping thing. They'd be doing drugs, and it was a party. A lot of times they'd be streaming from the hot tub. I'm sure we have examples of that we're going to see.
We sure
and
do.
So they were mixing in this lifestyle of like, hey, look at us, we're all friends. No one knew at the time. People were speculating. No one knew at the time that that's what was going on behind the scenes. And they were trying to present this idea that they're just fast friends who are all content creators and are kind of just intermingling and producing this content now on each other's channels.
And it's so great. Everything is so wonderful. Now, you mentioned the hot tub stream, and I do think that is an extremely memorable moment of these two couples coinciding in the universe. They have this infamous hot tub stream where all four of them are in a hot tub, which seems like the craziest place in the world to podcast to me ever. Like, it just does not seem like it functionally works, but they decided to do it. And as you can probably assume, almost everybody who is watching assumes that they are swingers, because why wouldn't they be? There's no way that these two couples are doing this together without having some ulterior motives, I guess.
I think this was Aaron's idea. I think he said that it was his idea to do his hot tub stream. He regretted it afterwards, but I totally agree with you. I think this is Aaron trying to put out there like, hey, check it out. I got two bikini babes in the hot tub with me. I must be killing it, because Aaron is so concerned about his image and how people perceive him. He wants to be cool so badly. So this was his opportunity. Hey, Nick Rekieta's famous. I'm hanging out with him. And look there's girls in bikinis next to me. Spuds McKenzie
so
over here.
Cool. Yeah, it's absolutely
that's a
amazing.
reference for people much older than you, Lucy.
Oh, why? Thank you. That's actually the nicest thing that you've said to me today. So we're going to take a peek at the hot tub stream. And again, every single one of the chatters during the hot tub stream is like, well, you guys are clearly all banging, right? So April is reading chats from her cell phone here.
Everywhere, I guess we're swinging tonight. Maybe I put it on the table, they've rejected me.
Look, guys, here's the deal. There's no swinging tonight unless Nick and I get drunk enough and we decide our lips look too tasty.
It's just them.
Aaron's
We're
butthole
like,
is
"What?"
mine.
You notice we ladies are on the inside. It's to keep these boys off each
The
other.
sexual
They're
tension.
just
They can't help themselves.
We pretend that the heads of our penises are magnets with the same charge, and we just go.
Guys, I lost my voice, and you know how.
it gets very uncomfortable.
It's beautiful. You look like you disagree.
Yeah, everything about that is awkward, and this whole thing was just like, oh yeah, we're gonna have sex. Maybe if like Nick and I have sex, am I right?
It's
gay
like
jokes.
magnets. Whoa.
Yeah, he thought about that a little bit too much.
The buzzing of the hot tub in the background. I mean, all of this was going to be a nightmare. And like you said, I do think that it was Aaron who probably proposed this. And I think that the concept was, let's all look like super saucy, exciting people. And instead, it just comes across as try-hardy and completely insane. Now, I will say there are two girls in bikinis, so they got a little bit of a pass for it, but they did get made fun of pretty relentlessly for this stream. I do, however, have a favorite moment from it, which, of course, I never forgot. Now, did you watch the hot tub stream when it actually happened?
I didn't watch it when it happened. I was not a fan of this program. But I have seen the hot tub stream, and I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, go ahead.
But what I
do you
appreciated
got?
about it was Aaron was being so subtle when he would like flirt with Kayla and be like, oh, she hates me. She thinks I'm so gross. Oh yeah, Kayla and I, we don't get along at all. Just like, yeah, we get it. You're fucking. Yeah. Calm down over there, buddy.
Completely obvious. And in fact, my favorite moment of the stream is exactly that. It's Aaron flirting with Kayla, and it is right after Kayla reveals that she likes New Kids on the Block, which I know it's a crazy revelation, but this is Aaron's response to that.
I would rather have a fist up my ass than hear someone say they love New Kids on the Block.
Aaron.
Well, is it your birthday?
I know what's happening later tonight.
I've got saran wrap.
Wait a minute. Can all three of you go like this real quick? I got to see which one I'm picking.
How do you feel about that, knowing everything you know now?
All right, here's how I feel about that. Does no one know what fisting means? I hate when people go, oh yeah, I'll fist. That's not what fisting is. That's not how you fist someone. Jesus Christ, learn how to fist someone.
I'm sorry, can you explain it to me a little bit more than that, Karl?
I'll show you later. It's fine.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I know this whole thing, like it's so awkward to be with a couple that's like in love because they're kind of new and they're like really enjoying themselves and each other, and like go to dinner with them or something, and you're just like, they're fucking playing footsie under the table and talking about each other's genitalia out loud. And you're like, ugh, come on, what are we doing? This stream is all of that the entire time. Just like, oh my gosh, look at us. We're going to all be fucking later. It's like gross. Get a room, get off the internet, go do your thing, come back later.
It felt awkward and it felt uncomfortable. But of course, we now know that during this entire time, it was all about the sex, drugs, and fun times. That was their entire shtick behind the scenes. And this was our first insight into it as viewers.
Yeah.
Now, also around this time, it started to become a little bit too much for Aaron. Aaron was kind of like up on a high horse, and he was like, well, you know, I only do drugs just a little bit, and they all love drugs so much. And, you know, I don't know how I feel about the swinging, and I don't want my wife to be doing all these horrible things. But as it turns out, his wife, April, is in fact pro drugs and sex, because she leaves Aaron in order to move in with Nick and Kayla.
Yeah, basically what happened was they had this agreement that they were wife swapping. It wasn't like they were having full on orgies or anything like that. It was just like, all right, I'll go with Kayla and you can go with my wife, April, and whatever. And then eventually what happened was Aaron got cucked out of his marriage because April's like, wow, this guy's way more fun. He never begs for the goal. And I'll just sit next to him at 6 a.m. on a weekday after I've been up doing blow all night. I'd much rather hang out with Nick, who can put me up in they had another house next to their house. So it's like, oh, this is way better. I could just go live in this other house. And
he knows he needs to get the saran wrap for the fisting. It's a perfect
things
situation.
Better. Yes,
yeah.
Right.
I think that this is a pretty crazy time period. And again, we're all kind of getting to see this unfold because Aaron Imholte, of course, infamously streams on Steel Toe Morning Show 1 to 2 times a day for 4 hours plus an episode.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. And so we get to see all of this kind of unraveling and experience exactly what's going on. And because of that, we get to see both April's last ever episode of Steel Toe Morning Show on April Fool's Day in 2024, and also the first episode where Aaron is there without her and he's coping with that. And boy, howdy does he have to cope.
And can I point out, so we started in December when they first started swapping, and then the winter is full of these like blowout fights and all of this drama going on and all of this drug use and sex and all this stuff. And meanwhile, guys like Patrick Melton are watching the show. Like you said, they're watching Aaron come on every day and do his show, and April's on there. And, you know, April is looking worse for the wear, and they're constantly drinking Celsius energy drinks and talking about getting fast food at the gas station right before the show started. So they're like getting up at 4 a.m., driving the hour it is from the Recadas house, stopping at a gas station for food, getting a Celsius drink, hopping on their show, and then doing a 4.5 hour long show begging for the goal. And
everybody's magically losing weight for no reason at all.
So
Nobody's appearance is changing even in the slightest.
So guys like Patrick Melton and some others are watching this and going, okay, this is what's going on here. April's obviously into coke, and these guys are all wife swapping, and there's all this shit going on. And one of the big tells on that was that when people in the chat would start speculating that April's on coke and doing things, Aaron got very upset. And he'd be like, no, we're shutting this down. There's no way you're getting blocked. If anyone brings up that my wife is on cocaine, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We're not going to have that here. So that was kind of a tell. It's like, oh, I think they might be onto something.
Yeah. And Patrick completely called it. I think Patrick has called almost every single thing in this entire story.
He nailed it.
It's truly incredible. In fact, one of my favorite clips that we're going to be watching today involves Patrick's reaction to something. So I'm going to look forward to that. Cool. But for the time being, let's get back to Aaron's last ever show with April. And in fact, Aaron was actually running late for this show. So April starts the show out, which I always think is an interesting dynamic, because when you can't even start your own show, but also you don't really have a start time because you're not on radio, why not just start it a little bit late?
People are going to call you gay in the chat. You just got to deal with it. It's fine.
Yeah, nobody's ever done that to you ever before.
A couple times.
So this is going to be April starting out Steel Toe Morning Show on April Fool's Day, wonderfully, 2024. And this is going to be Aaron entering the show after about being 10 minutes or so in.
Fan funding. Here we go, Ozone. I'm going to see if you left one. You did. Ozone with $4.99. Who are you?
Sexual harassment.
Ah! No. You have to sit in my seat for a couple minutes.
What? Bullshit.
Oh, shit.
I don't have a
Hold
mic.
on.
That's true.
Pause it real quick.
Yes.
Did he think that Nick's jizz was on her cheek? Is that why he attacked it like
He
that?
had to lick like that. Oh,
okay,
it was so beautiful. You might be right about that. You might be onto something.
True. Fuck me.
You fucking Jew.
Here, ready? Take.
Having trouble with microphones.
Fucking hell. Take mine for a couple minutes.
I'm going to be over-modulated.
You homo? No, this is great.
So we got a homo, a Jew, all of the things, all in that one lovely clip of Aaron coming in late to his own show.
They're
for the
so
last
witty
ever
and
time
funny.
that his wife is going to be on.
Yeah, they're so witty and funny. You know, they always come up with different ways to ridicule each other, calling each other gay or racial slurs. It's good stuff.
They're just completely adorable. Now, I did not remember this episode at all. I went back and I watched a huge chunk of this, and it seems like a relatively normal episode. Now, when you're thinking about the brink of a couple breaking up, you would think that there would be like some moments where maybe they're having trouble on air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because especially if you're on drugs and you're going crazy, it's a little bit hard to fake things like that. But I'm going to be honest, they did a pretty good job of covering everything up, which
they were used to it. They've been practicing for months at this point.
They had been practicing for months at this point. You are absolutely right. I did find one moment where the two of them get a little snippy at each other as April is telling a harrowing story about like a driving incident that she had. And Aaron does not really give a fuck about that at all.
Right, go ahead. You're doing great.
4-lane highway. This crazy looking man, this Ford.
I'm sure he likes hearing himself described that way. By the way, thank you for complimenting my looks earlier. That was very nice, actually. That was very sweet.
I don't remember doing that.
You did. You were very nice to me.
It's show amnesia. I don't.
It made me
anything.
feel good. I'm just letting you know it boosted my self-esteem.
I don't think it happened.
I felt loved. Continue on.
I like how you interrupt my story of survival.
You were asking
for your appearances.
You were asking me if the 2-lane road thing was correct, and I
didn't ask.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm leaving. Bye-bye.
Okay, so...
So what are your thoughts on that clip when it comes to where their relationship was at the time? Do you see any tells from that, or does that just seem like normal?
It's terrible chemistry. And
terrible.
The fact that Aaron, he constantly needs this reassurance from her. And there's so many clips of him talking about his penis and how great his penis is, and he needs her to agree and be like, yeah, I mean, I give you dick real good, right? And she doesn't agree, that he like dwells on it and pushes her. So it is a very weird thing, because what's happening here is that he's watching his wife fall in love with another guy. That's the reason why he has facial hair, by the way. You can tell he can't grow facial hair, but April has made it clear that she likes facial hair on Nick. And so Aaron's like, I'm a facial hair guy too over here. Look at me. And so he's feeling very insecure, and he's fishing for compliments, and he's giving her smooches on the air now, which is so awful.
You don't love that? That's not great.
It's brutal.
He does make a lot of comments about the facial hair during this time period. So tons and tons of episodes. He starts out the episode by stroking his little shitty goatee thing, going, I don't know, you guys, I feel like it looks a little weird on me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you small child that is also a girl. Why are you doing that?
Yeah, I mean, he reads all the comments. There's a lot of negativity out there. And for some reason, he's dwelling on it and bringing it up on his show. It's the wrong approach to this sort of thing if you're a sensitive bitch like Aaron is.
Well, you're right is the only response to that. So what we get into next, of course, is going to be Aaron's first ever episode of Steel Toe Morning Show without April. And he's going to need to explain why she isn't there, but he doesn't want to make himself look bad because he always must win absolutely everything. So let's see how he is going to spin this exactly.
This is where we're at right now. April and I spent yesterday together. As you know, we took yesterday off. No morning show, no evening show. It was wonderful. We spent the day together, singing. It was so gay. We were making.
I cannot with it. We were singing and it was really gay. And then what else did you do, Aaron?
Candied bacon together, singing songs. It was queer. I mean queer. You got, so gay, just leaking out. Just the gayness leaking out of every most of the orifices. So it was a great catch-up day. And look, it's like I said on Wednesday evening's show. And like one of April's friends wrote to her. I'm going to say friends. Wrote to her and was like, it sounds like he's gearing up for a divorce and he's trying to make it look like your fault. I'm like, by saying I've handled her trolling by internet people over the last year poorly by telling her to soldier on instead of take a break and who gives a shit. It's delicious candied bacon, though.
Oof.
Now, let me describe a little bit more about the timeline of that, because again, April's last show is on April 1st. At the end of the April 1st show, Aaron ends it by saying, and we'll see you tomorrow. I'll be on with Johnny in the morning. I'll be on with April in the evening. And then April 2nd comes around, no shows, no morning show, no evening show. And this is a man who has proven to us time and time again that he is streaming at every possible opportunity that he can be, even when he should not be legally, and then some. He has no shows on April 2nd, so that was our April 3rd show.
Right, no shows, no goals. I mean, that's stressful for Aaron. He needs to hit the goal every day.
I would really like to know what they were doing on April 2nd.
April was actively leaving him.
Yes,
I mean, on April 2nd.
I want to know the details of that. I want to know, was she packing bags? I want to know, was she throwing things? I want to know who put the candied bacon in his butthole. I want to know all of the details of this. It's insanity.
Yeah, and this is the time frame where Aaron lost me, because I called into Melton's show not too long after this, as Patrick and other people were saying, like, oh, April's gone. She's getting a divorce. She wants nothing to do with this guy. And Aaron was trying to say that, no, actually, it's just because the internet trolls are getting to her. She just needs some time off, and then she'll be back on the show. And for some dumb reason, I was giving Aaron the benefit of the doubt. I thought he was telling the truth. I thought people were speculating on this stuff. We're just making it up out of thin air. And so I went out on a limb and I said, guys, you know what Aaron's going to do? Because this is the move. I saw Shuli do this with Bob Levy. I was speculating, oh my gosh, Bob's off of the Shuli network. He's done. And then next thing you know, Bob shows up. You guys all got worked, whatever. So I thought Aaron was doing the same thing, where he's letting all these people like build up all these narratives and give all these opinions that they state as fact. And they just be like, see, April's right here. And so that's what I expected to happen. It turns out Aaron was lying to everyone for months on his show. And so that's what turned me off immediately. And I went, okay, never mind. This guy is full of shit.
And not only did it turn out that Aaron was lying to everybody for months, but it also turned out that Patrick Melton was 100% correct about almost everything. So I just want to reinforce that point. And that you were wrong also. I think we'll point that out as well.
I was very wrong about this. Yeah. And I even did a show where I brought on a bunch of people, including Soft Weekly, who was doing a show about Aaron for a long time. And I think Aussie guy came on, and I did a show where I said, guys, how did I get this so wrong? Yeah. And I just sat and listened. It was like a little therapy for me. I'm like, what am I missing here? Now, was I paying close attention? I was not. I was not watching Aaron's show. I wasn't really watching Patrick Melton's show. But I just assumed, for whatever reason, that Aaron wouldn't lie about everything when all that's going to happen is it's going to come out and he's going to lose all credibility. Because I don't think that way. See, it's bizarre to me that someone would even do something like that, because that's how, in my mind, and people already pinned Aaron as a low cow and a e-beggar, and I get that. But in my mind, that was the transition. When we found out that he was lying about all of this and trying to paint this picture of things are great, April can't handle the heat, but I'm killing it. This is all awesome. Meanwhile, his life was falling apart the entire time.
He truly is good at spinning stories when you don't look at him at all. And the problem with Aaron is that, and I think maybe this is part of why you needed your quote unquote therapy in order to understand what was really going on, is that he does so much content and it's so extremely boring that until he does something that lands him in jail, he is the most nothing burger that has ever existed on the face of the planet. I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand why people became enchanted with him in the first place, because this could have all just happened and nobody could have ever taken notice of it, because he's excruciating to watch.
Well, the only reason why he ended up on my radar is because he decided to enter the Dabbleverse. Him and April almost came to the first DabbleCon.
Yep.
They claimed they had tickets and they were going to come. I was like, oh, cool. We'll hang out at DabbleCon. And then something happened with April and something came up and they couldn't come. But yeah, Aaron saw that we were making fun of Stuttering John, and he saw we were getting a lot of traction. So he was interested in who are these podcasts. And Aaron's a big Anthony Cumia fan. So he probably found me through that. And so Aaron decided to set his sights on Chad Zumach. And Aaron's like, I'm going to make Chad Zumach my guy, and started going after him. And that did not go well for Aaron, because they could not handle how Chad came back at them, especially April.
It's actually kind of impressive to not be able to handle Chad Zumach. That's like a whole nother level of impressive that I don't know if I want to give it credit or not, but I think it's noteworthy. Now, around this time is when we have this just giant sex house orgy of Nick, Kayla, and April. And it is in full swing. Everybody is happy. Sex, drugs, fun times, all of the great stuff. However, things are going to take a horrible, horrible turn very, very soon, starting with Nick accidentally forgetting to stop a live stream, or purposely forgetting to stop a live stream. But before we check out that video, we are going to check out a few super chats, and then we will be getting into that. We have Jay Wolfenstein for $2, Late, and Karl. Oh, hi, Karl.
Oh, hi, Jay.
We have Ken for $2. Thank you so much. Nice toddies, sweetheart. Want to get out of here? Of course I do, but not really, because I have done so much research, failed research, as I have learned on this topic, that I really want to talk about it forever. We have Sean. Hi, Sean. Thank you so much for the $4.99. H is for Heretic for $5. Thank you so much. Saved from a Factory. Man, it's like an officer and a gentleman right down to the gerbil. I don't think anybody is getting carried off at the end here, but we'll find out. Who knows? It could take a turn. It could take a turn. Ben S, $2. Thank you. Much better discussion of Toe than with Moody. I don't believe that for a second. Moody is wonderful. We have Raper Butt. Hello, Raper Butt. $4.99. Thanks so much. Love this show, Lucy. Who's the new guy with the bad teeth?
Don't act like you don't know, Raper Butt.
Oh, come on. You guys are best buds. A Queef in the Night for $4.99. Thanks so much. There's a wild NLO episode where Patrick watches Aaron Imholte and April on air right after a fight. Clear that they were having some money trouble. Hi, Kaylee. Hi, Queef. Yeah, they definitely have had their moments. And you guys actually were just talking, you were over on This Little Piggy just before we started this stream, and you were talking with both Patrick from Nobody Loves Onions and, oh my God, words are really hard for me right now, and Moody. And you guys were mentioning that you guys showed a clip right at the end where April describes a dream that she had that might have been foreshadowing about her being held as a slave and having to do things with other men under Aaron's tutelage. Control.
Right.
Yeah. I lost all words thinking about that. That was a creepy freaking thing to watch.
That was very odd that she brought that dream up, and Aaron's reaction to it immediately when she said, "You were in my dream last night." He goes, "Was my dick in it? He goes, "Did I have a dick?" Which is a weird question. He's like, "Huh?" He's like, "Was my dick in it?" It's like, the question is, was it a sex dream, idiot? And the answer is no.
He only worries about two things: his dick and whatever dick was in April. Right?
Those are two bad things for him then.
Yeah, it's not great for him. It's not great. We also have Hate Monger for $4.99. Thank you so much. The only thing crazier I've ever seen a streamer do live was a guy named Zombie OD on heroin. I don't know anything about that story. Do you know that story, Karl?
I don't, but that's a fun way to go out.
I
like to bring energy. I would do a speedball. I wouldn't just OD on heroin. That seems like a boring podcast.
It's important to make choices. Producer Chris is in the house for $20. Thank you so much for the $20, Producer Chris. Congrats on the show and 666 subs. See you guys at Steel Panther. Hurry the fuck up. It's true. We are going to Steel Panther tonight. It is going to be a fun time. That might be the gayest reason ever that we have to leave early.
Death to all but metal. And fuck you for saying that's gay. Steel Panther rules. What is he saying? Congrats on 666,000 subs. Is that what your channel is up to now?
No, it's 6,066. It's 6.66K.
All right. Well, that's still
Producer
impressive.
Chris is great at numbers, is what I'm learning.
That's still
I
good.
wasn't going to call him out for being.
I thought that you were up to almost 1 million subs. I was going to congratulate you.
Well, I appreciate that you have that much faith in me, especially after this wonderful nightmare of things. So thank you.
Christ.
I know. I'm going to keep doing it. Listen, let's just get pumped for Steel Panther. It's going to be great. A Queef in a Night with another $1.99. Thank you so much. Correction, it was HROs. My bad. Hi, Karl.
Hey, Queef.
Next up, we have Sorcerer in for $4.99. Thanks so much, Sorcerer. A couple of things. There's no jets. Then what's the point of one of these? Oh, of the hot tubs.
Yeah.
They couldn't have the jets on. It would be too loud.
Of course.
Also, I don't take my phone out in the rain. In a tub, yeah, that whole stream is very anxiety inducing for me. I feel like April's going to drop her phone the entire time.
And Sorcerer, to answer your question, I'm not saying that it's a pleasant thing to do, but it's December in Minnesota, so it's probably 12 degrees outside. So slipping into a hot tub is going to feel a lot better than standing outside, I would imagine.
What, you thought that they were going to stream outside?
Weren't they outside in that?
They could stream in their setups. They're all professional podcasters.
All right, Lucy. Jesus Christ. Oh, literal Lucy.
Oh, you know it. Ken for $2. 34D, hard to tell next to your huge hands. It's true. Everybody always says that they're huge. I am happy that I just did that. Ghost of Cabby, $5. Hi, Ghost of Cabby. Nice to see you again. You were also over on This Little Piggy earlier.
Yeah, he made his debut on This Little Piggy. People should check out the Ghost of Cabby YouTube channel. He makes some great videos breaking down the Dabbleverse and the different factions and all the things that are going on amongst a lot of different characters.
Yes. He says, Karl, sorry my phone died. I forgot to say that I'm a huge EDR fan. Please tell him that Meteor Man was my favorite movie as a kid.
Okay, will do. Thanks, Ghost of Cabby. Good to see you, Kelly, and I'll let EDR know.
And we have Husey from Husey Entertainment coming in with 5. I love the woman hosting this episode. Lady K. Ha ha ha. What a great joke. Still funny. Roasted.
Got me good, Adam.
Oh boy. He's so good. KFT for $1.99. More Jenny, less Karl. Oh hey. Abortion guy.
Carol's Frosted Tips coming in.
Yeah.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah. It's great.
Jen is actually upstairs making candied bacon right now. So don't
Are you sure you want to say that?
Don't read into that at all. I can totally hear her making it.
I can't wait for you guys to do your next hot tub stream. It's going to be great. I can't wait to see who's in the hot tub with you, I guess is what I should say. That's really what the question is. Kim Boley, $5. Hi, Lucy. First live. I hate that I have to choose between you and Shuli. Arg. Well, we won't be done too much later.
You've chosen wisely.
So I appreciate that. Thank you for
wisely.
being here. Shane M for $10. I am happy to support having more biological women in the Dabbleverse. Karl, I think that one was for you as well.
Oh, I was going to say it's one of the nicest things anyone's ever said to you.
No. I reserved that for you. Josh O for $2. Looking great today. Kaylee ain't bad either. Thank you so very much. All right, we need to get into the craziest stuff. This really truly is probably the most wacky time frame of this entire story, which is going to be in May of 2024. And unfortunately, we're going to be starting out on May 21st when Nick either forgets to stop live streaming while he's wasted out of his mind, or he intentionally does not stop live streaming while he's wasted out of his mind, which I think he was doing somewhat regularly. But this particular episode was very, very different. Because you'll notice some shoulder gestures, and there's a lot of speculation that perhaps he's not doing anything to himself, but rather that somebody else is in the room with him. You can see he can't even open his eyes. He's biting his finger.
Why?
Which I do feel like the biting his finger, that's not something that you do when you're by yourself.
No, there's I believe it's been said. Well, I know it's been said, but I believe it's true that April was in the room with him during this famous stream.
Yes.
Where he got a little too fucked up on drugs and alcohol. And so, yes, it's very possible that April's having a good time under the table here.
Yes, and I think it was Kino Casino actually went through and boosted the audio and could hear things like the table moving a little bit and his belt buckle moving a little bit as well. So definitely substantiated.
Is my camera still on?
I will say,
Trying to shut this show down.
On that amount of coke, though, I'm guessing it was a wet noodle that was being played with.
Yeah, well, again, I think that's why his shoulder is moving in the beginning. I think he's trying to help the situation a little bit, and it's not working. I don't think anything is working right now, shall we say.
Why is my camera still on? Trying to shut this show down. I'm like, we'll play the credits. No. What we'll do is we'll sit here. Oh my God, Nick's drunk. Yes. Cool. I'll do it at your kid's family thing or whatever. Why would you hire me as a babysitter? Don't. You should hire me, though. Is that an asshole? An asshole.
Now, I got to be honest with you. If April was under that table, if I was the significant other of somebody, and maybe I'm fucked up too, but if I was the significant other of somebody and they were live streaming in that condition, I would probably be like, yo, maybe turn the camera off right about now.
No, everyone's out of their minds. So what's happening here is that there's some degeneracy going on where Aaron was in the mix with these guys, but Aaron was all right, guys, we got to get to bed now because we got to get up and podcast in the morning. And he was the one who was kind of trying to keep everyone in line. As soon as he's kicked out of the polycule and now these three are off to their own devices, it's
no control.
There's no control at all happening anymore. Everyone's just blasted out of their minds, having a great time. And really, the biggest mistake being made here, aside from having children, which that's not great.
Yeah, that
biggest
help.
mistake being made here is webcams. Without webcams, this kind of shit goes on in the houses all day long, all the time.
All the time. They could have been still having fun or been dead by now. We don't even know. Either is possible. Now, you are exactly correct. The webcam is the problem in this situation because that was on May 21st. And then on May 23rd, the stream from just a couple of days prior prompts a search warrant. Now, there is a lot of things that probably went into the search warrant happening, but
not probably. I mean, it's in the search warrant.
It's in the search warrant. Absolutely, It is. And let's actually pull that up as long as we are talking about it, because I do think that it is valuable to take a little peek at. So in this search warrant, it is slowly pulling up. It might or might not show up. There it goes. Okay. So in this search warrant, we are going to see that it is executed on May 23rd, 2024 at 9:13 in the morning at Nick and Kayla's house. And of course, it says that 4 people had reported that there was neglect to children, possible controlled substance use, and a questionable relationship with an additional couple. So this is people potentially from Nick and Kayla's church were reporting this, and also possibly some other people were making reports to the cops.
Could be family members, could be guys who got kicked out of a polycule, could be a lot of people.
Could be anybody, absolutely anybody. Now, this warrant explains that Nick and Kayla had befriended hosts of a different local radio show referring to Steel Toe Morning Show, April and Aaron. And we're going to take a peek at just a couple of different sections of this because, again, this is a really, really pivotal moment. So it was reported from a church preschool teacher that the children had complained of being hungry, not being fed, and wearing the same clothes for 3 to 4 days at a time, and that they would start to smell. In addition to that, it was also starting to get alleged things like the fact that Kayla looked anorexic and Nick had lost a substantial amount of weight recently. One individual described that Nick had injection or track marks on his arms.
Yeah, which is odd because they were
unlikely
not using needles.
Yes, unlikely. I think that probably what that was is that once you start to imagine something that your mind kind of goes a little wild with it. So I suspect that the reason that they're seeing track marks is it's just a normal vein and churchgoers aren't familiar with the drug usage.
Right.
So they're like, that's got to be what that is. That's my entirely speculation about
Also, when
this.
you do coke for a long enough time, you will start picking it yourself. So there's also that.
Oh, the more you know is... I had no idea.
Sure.
So while reviewing Imholt's social media blogs, also this warrant describes that Aaron had recently indicated that he and April were getting a divorce, and that Aaron went on to say that he had experimented with cocaine 3 times and Molly 6 or 7 times in the past recently. So again, this is saying Aaron is talking about this crazy situation that is happening in this household. We think that this is what's happening, and the cops have to go in and respond to this, which is exactly why this warrant gets executed on the 23rd.
Let's not gloss over that. This is a very important part to this because there's a lot of feelings involved. There's a lot of feelings because there was a lot of love and drug use and sex, and that turned into animosity, and that's turned into a lot of hatred and vitriol. And this Aaron showing up in this document, but even if he hadn't, he was going on his show. And this is where my eyes had been opened up and I started covering Aaron. And I remember Aaron going, guys, I'm going to be honest. I used to make some really bad decisions. I was up to a lot of bad things. I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing, and other people are still doing those things. And I can't stop them from doing that. So it's so obvious that he was saying that April is doing drugs, like they were all doing drugs, and April's still doing drugs. And then he started bringing up, that he had done certain drugs a certain number of times. So it was very obvious what he was communicating to everyone.
Well, but not just I had done drugs a certain number of times. He was constantly downplaying it. Oh, well, I just did like a little bump.
Which is
kind of
probably
what you would
true. The
describe.
guy seems like he's afraid of fun. So it probably was true that, because if you hear about the story he told about the strip twister night, where they were at a strip club and then they went back home and played strip twister, and Aaron was reluctantly did like 2 key bumps the entire night and was out of his mind. Blah.
Carl, you don't remember how much fun they were having in the hot tub stream? That guy clearly loves fun. He's all
God.
about it.
He's such
He
a
loved
dork.
it. Oh my God, the
That's
magnets.
me saying that.
The magnet penises. Yeah, it's
Hilarious.
true.
Oh, let me see all your fists.
Yeah.
For my joke.
So The cops go in, and they break down the door at Nick and Kayla's place, where April is now also there, and the kids are there, and they find a lot of white powdery substances, which ends up amounting to, I believe it was 27 grams of cocaine, ketamine, and don't forget all of the improperly stored guns. So all three of them get arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron's response to this is being the mega douche that he is. He decides in response to this that not only is he going to say, I was super chaste and doing great, and I was just trying to protect April, my wife, and I wanted to get her out of the situation, but he also decides that this is the perfect time for him to spill the most intimate aspects of their relationships by going on Kino Casino, which is the worst place that I could possibly imagine ever spilling all the beans about anything.
Well, no, in Aaron's mind, this was perfect for him because
he loved it.
Right, because you have Kiwi Farms in the sector, and you have all of these thousands of people. I can't even tell you the size of the audience of people who hate Nick Rekieta or like to A-log Nick Rekieta or whatever it is, because they saw him as a guy who rose to fame very quickly with the Kyle Rittenhouse and Johnny Depp trials and had all these people watching it. And he was a respected law tuber.
He effectively created the genre of law tube.
So he started bringing in all these other attorneys on his show and brought up these attorneys who are still practicing law tube, if that's a thing you could practice. And so Nick was seen as this target and presented himself as this Christian trad dad kind of thing. So when they found out that this guy got busted with almost an ounce of coke and ketamine, and I saw Riles in the comments saying, why didn't they flush the drugs? He didn't think in a million years the cops would ever be able to knock down his front door and go into his house. So he didn't train the women and his wife to flush the drugs. The cops are here. Flush the drug. April, wipe the white powder off your credit card and put it back in your wallet. What are you doing? She just left it on the nightstand.
Two of her credit cards were seized, covered in white powdery substance. Why
the cops didn't immediately come in the door?
They're knocking on the door. Yeah.
One of the kids came down and said, no, we're not letting you in. And Nick's standing outside going, do you guys have a warrant? They're like, yeah, here it is. He's like, wow, what the fuck? No one would unlock the door for him. They had plenty of time to put the guns away and flush the drugs. I realize it's a lot of drugs and it's worth a lot of money.
They were trying to flush the drugs. It's
maybe
fine.
Maybe that's what it was. I did see the photos of them when they got to jail. So that's very possible. They would have been out of it a little bit. What was your question?
No, we were talking about Aaron going on Kino Casino to spill all the beans.
So Aaron's so vindicated now because all of these people got arrested. So they're the bad guys and he's the good guy. So then he starts this media tour starting with Kino Casino, where not only is he finally able to tell why he's great and he went on the righteous path and they're all sinners and awful people, but for some reason he decides to go into these details about their sex lives that to this day, I can't figure out why he thought this was the right angle for him, because it makes him come off as such a douchebag and narc. And I said this earlier on this little piggy, but I don't know who would ever want to date a guy like Aaron, who you're friends with, you're intimate with, you have all of these, you have a relationship and all these secrets. And then as soon as he's done with you, he tells everyone in the world about it. And he throws you under the bus and he explains like very specific details about their sex lives.
Listen, from what we know from April, he was really good at sex and everybody loved his penis. So that's probably why.
I don't think that's what April said.
I misunderstood that part. Okay. So this Kino Casino stuff was, like you just said, it's so disrespectful. It's so completely absurd. Mm-hmm. And Aaron is so pleased with himself by the fact that he finally gets to describe all of these things in intimate detail.
Act like you've been there before too, man. It's not a good look to be like, and then I put my penis in this other girl.
Well,
like, yeah.
Not only that, but at this time, he really truly is saying, I developed a very special relationship with Kayla Rekieta.
Yes.
Kayla and I were in love. We had something special. And so as he is saying in one breath, he's saying, I love her and I am so in love with her and we have something very special. And I know things are crazy for her right now. That does not absolve my love for her. I cannot stop being in love with her. And she feels the same way about me. And he's boasting about that. And then in the next breath, he's answering questions like this one, which is telling us exactly how great Kayla is at certain things.
To keep it, but it was always more spouses than other spouse. You understand?
Yeah.
So it'd be like a once or twice a week thing. I'd say at the peak 4 or 5 times a week.
Did she suck your?
What are you, fucking gay?
Of course.
You know
what
I
she
will
did.
tell you this. Listen to me. As a man, and maybe people in the chat will say as a I see getting my sucked as a precursor to the main event. So
Yeah.
if I'm getting close, I'm getting my up. I'm like, no. Let's get to it.
Was she good at sucking it, or what?
Just a beautiful girl all around. She really is. Just a lovely girl.
That's a horrific thing to say about somebody.
That wasn't even the worst parts.
Oh, no,
Okay.
it's not. I agree. What's your memory of the worst parts?
Well, he was telling specific details about the first time that like it was his birthday or something. And so they had prearranged that Kayla was going to come down naked and sit in his lap, but it was in front of April and Nick. And then they scurried off to go have sex. And then it was just him and Kayla in the room. And then he saw Nick peeking around the corner to like watch them have sex. And he was telling very specific details about their sex lives and specific events that happened. It's one thing to be like, yeah, of course she sucked my dick. We were having full on intercourse. You know, this is part of it. You guys don't know that? That's one thing. I mean, whatever. But to give like specific examples about like, oh, on this day, this thing happened and this guy said this and then this girl did that. It's crazy.
I'm not trying to poo-poo the idea of the specific examples, but I think that there's something particularly disgusting about a guy who's saying, I love this girl, we're in love, we have something special, and then is answering a question like, is she good at sucking your cock? By going, oh, she's just beautiful. Beautiful in every way. There's something very vile about that to me because it is boastful at the same time. Telling the details is one thing, and that's absolutely just almost as equally as disgusting, but it doesn't feel like maybe it is still boastful. I'm already backtracking on myself here.
It's high school
It's
locker room,
disgusting.
Aaron. It's high school
Yeah.
locker room shit. It's teenager shit to be like, oh, we went all the way and I touched her boobies. She let me suck on her boobies too. You're like, wow, cool, man.
And then what happened?
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, adults have sex. And of course, PPP is doing a great job of like making it seem like, wow, this is so great. You're so cool. And Warski's doing the same thing. Like, whoa. So they're revving him
They're
up.
getting him to, they're getting him
They're
to
doing
keep
a good
talking.
job.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're like fucking virtually high-fiving this dude. And just like, you want to know what else we did? You know, so it gets pretty wild on that episode. I remember watching that and thinking like, wow, Aaron is a garbage person.
Yes. Yeah, this really was a turning point for a lot of people with him. He had
And you know what's crazy is for some reason in the Dabbleverse, this is like acceptable. I've seen this on MLC now, and you have Karmic and Gilly who are going in there and talking about like on this day, I sucked on this thing, and on this day he sucked on that thing. It's just like, what? Why are you telling anyone this information? Like people used to think Howard Stern, I'm going to date myself. People used to think Howard Stern was pretty wild because he'd give intimate information about his sex life, but it would be like, my wife and I had sex last night, Robin. Ooh. I'd be like, whoa,
crazy.
This is nuts right now. Did he just say that on the air? But now we're like getting into specific details and dates and things. It just seems inappropriate to me.
I think that there's a big difference, and it leads into the difference between radio and podcasting, right? And especially when we're talking about podcasting when it comes to e-beggars, which I think that we can all agree that Aaron is one. when you are telling the juicier details, you are more likely to get the bigger audience. When you have the bigger audience, you are more likely to get the super chats. And therefore, you are going to make money off of telling those juicy details, even if you're not telling it on your show. And that's why people keep pushing the envelope in situations like this, is because they equate it to dollar signs. And we see a lot of that in the Dabbleverse, as with many other internet communities. They go, oh, if I just tell this story, think about how much money I can make temporarily. They don't think about the long run. They don't think about how it's going to impact future relationships. They don't think that about how it's going to impact court cases, the court of public opinion. None of those things matter when they see the dollar sign.
Yeah. And this worked out very well for Aaron. His show was never more popular than after he did this media tour and talked about this polycule and all the drug use.
Yeah, it's true. And he starts victory lapping. He truly does, because at this point, Nick loses custody of his children. And this is when we get into Aaron making one of the biggest mistakes of his life. I think we can all say that there are quite a few. But this is when Aaron goes live on Steel Toe Morning Show and sends a nude picture of Kayla to Gino live on the show. I cannot imagine a dumber thing to do, and I cannot imagine being smarmier about it than how he behaves. So I think we all remember these quotes. I think everybody has memorialized this clip within their memory, but let's check it out.
I say this because I'm a supermodel. You know, I can judge other people. I'm just saying, not a fan of the tattoo on the tip. That's all.
I mean, that's
one of the things I had forgotten about this clip, actually, Karl, was that Aaron spends so long on his phone looking for this image. So I cut this up a little bit. There's probably a solid 2 minutes of him searching on his phone in order to find this image of Kayla, which he is about to send to Gino Bisconti.
That I understand, Gino, and that's.
I'm not saying like if a hot chick like her had a tattoo on her tit, I'm like, no, yeah. Just saying, what are your thoughts on that? The big old tattoo on the tit.
Well, here, give me 1 second here.
Oh, here we go. Had to check my text. By the way,
did you check?
I like tattoos more than I think.
Your boy didn't do too bad, did he?
Your boy didn't do too bad, did he? The words heard round the world and now written in court documents. And he looks as if he is looking at Gino to be an approving father because he's just gotten an A on his report card.
Yeah. Or he just got laid for the first time and he wants to high five his dad.
He didn't even get laid. He took a picture of a girl without her consent and then he sent it to a guy. It's even worse than that.
No, I know. But that's the thing is that, Aaron feels so inadequate at this point that he needs the validation so badly to be like, look at this naked girl who I think you'll agree is attractive. I used to sleep with her.
Yeah, you're totally right. And Nick has been talking about this more recently. So he actually describes the way that Aaron got a hold of this picture, which I don't think that we knew up until Nick talked about this I think it was probably within the last month or two, and maybe even more recent than that. So now we actually know how this picture of Kayla that Aaron sent to Gino came to be because of Nick describing it here.
So off to the side from the broadcast area, there are couches and stuff like that. So people were hanging out. Clothing might not have been on because, for better or worse, it's really funny when someone's trying to live stream to have a bunch of naked people around. Distracting the shit out of them. That's a funny thing. And that's what was going on. And he decided to then take a creep shot in the middle of it, which is really fucking weird. That is a huge breach of trust and very violative. And that's what he did.
So to me, that's even worse than what I had imagined the origin of the picture was. I imagined that this picture was kind of taken with consent. Everybody was having fun, being naked, being high, and that maybe they were taking pictures of each other because that's something that some couples do. That was always my assumption of the origin.
Yeah, I always assumed either she sent him the photo, or he took the photo, but she knew she was being photographed or whatever. And, we have to believe what Nick is telling us here. The stories about this photo have changed even in court documents. I mean,
Yes.
we hear about how
Part of a
Keanu,
nipple.
yeah, Keanu explained that it's like both breasts are exposed, and you know, here's this woman, you can see your tattoo and whatever. And then in court, they said it was part of one nipple that you could see.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that seems like a very different thing. I don't know that Aaron would have sent that photo, but you know, whatever. I have no idea what's going on. So yeah, if Nick is telling the truth here, then that's a way worse thing to send, because she never gave permission for him to take that photo in the first place.
No, she absolutely did not. And as a result of that photograph being sent to Gino, Kayla does end up pressing charges effectively for revenge porn, in short. And this immediately goes into the law's hands. This is out of Kayla's hands at this point, and a criminal complaint is filed against Aaron Imholte. Now, the cops have to gather evidence about this, and they obviously have this story. Perhaps at this point they have the video clip. But in addition to that, they, of course, want to talk to Gino to ask what he saw. Perhaps this was just a bit that they were doing. And so Gino gets a phone call from the cops, and Keanu, the always genius that she is, talks in detail about this phone call on her show.
And we got a phone call from I believe she said St. Cloud PD. And I'm just in the car, so the speakerphone is on. I'm calling to ask about the nude photo. He goes, whoa, wait, but like is that, you know, revenge porn or what? She's like, I just need you to describe it. You know, he sent this to you and you showed it to your wife or what have you. She said wife. And then he went, my fiance. And could you see her face in it? And can you describe it? And he said it was a naked chick with tattoos. Yes, it was. And it was K-Love.
That clip is actually about 25 minutes long. I had to cut it down into that because Keanu doesn't actually know how to tell a story. But I did like that she got in there that she was his fiance, not his wife. That was really important.
Yeah, very, very important element to that.
Really, really good details.
So it's crazy. Just to, you know, obviously we're going to get to this, but so Aaron has to go to court for this and potentially on trial for this felony charge against him and gross misdemeanor. And he claims that, well, if Gino and Keanu don't come as witnesses, then there's no way they can prove that I did this thing. Where meanwhile, Gino and Keanu are both telling the internet over and over again that Aaron definitely sent this naked image of Kayla to Gino during the show. So it's like, there's a ton of evidence out there.
And at this point, I mean, the next swinging couple in the mix probably would have been Gino and Keanu. They are all good friends at this point. Everybody seems happy, healthy. I mean, things shift very rapidly with them. So maybe one day they all loved each other. The next day they all hated each other.
Right.
But Keanu and Gino are just throwing him under the bus left and right, which of course results in our first ever Aaron mugshot relating to this case, at least. I don't actually know if there's other ones relating to other things, but relating to this case, this is what we get. His first mugshot, and he ends up going to jail. And he bonds out, but he has some release conditions. So the release conditions in summary are you're not allowed to say anything at all negative about Kayla on any channel that you control, on any show that you run, on absolutely anything. In addition to that, you can't have any direct or indirect contact with Kayla. No social media, no other platforms, no third-party communications, nothing like that. You have to post bail, and also you are no longer allowed to further disseminate any private images relating to Kayla or anybody else. I think that last one's probably a little bit unsurprising. But after this initial arrest and release, the judge also orders Imholte to have no contact. And we already had kind of expected that to happen. But again, what's so important about that is that it involves his online show. It involves Steel Toe Morning Show and anything else that he goes on as a guest and anything else that he might be appearing on. But Aaron is an idiot, and we all know that he cannot keep to any rules like that. So he almost immediately starts violating these conditions.
He's also not allowed to leave the state without permission.
Yes.
And he will end up leaving the state with permission, and that does not bode well for him.
Does not bode well. And as a little precursor to that, let's just point out that almost every single event that relates to Aaron's current jail time, or I guess now ended jail time, relates to Gino. So we will be revisiting him again. Now, his exact charges are non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images or intentionally disseminating an image without consent. And there are lots of penalties under Minnesota law for that charge, which is a misdemeanor generally. And again, Aaron will violate them. So he does that just the day after he bonds out of jail, or at least he does it minimally. He continues to do it again and again and again. There are reports documented of multiple instances during tons of his live streams where he is referencing or discussing the victim, Kayla, which breaches that prohibition of public commentary.
And he did this with his first ex-wife, Ashley, where Ashley had an HRO out against some harassment restraining order. And so he wasn't allowed to disparage her or talk about her. So what he would do is he'd go, I got this cousin.
Yes.
Or he would just like talk about her, but pretend he was talking about somebody else. And he thought that like got him, it's like Stuttering John saying YouTube's terms of service when he threatens to beat someone up. It's just like, just like couching your language and the wording of it doesn't change the meaning of it. We all know what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there are some very hefty penalties for this type of misdemeanor. So he could be sentenced to imprisonment for not more than 3 years. And also he could have to pay a fine of up to $5,000, especially if he ever were to admit to doing something like disseminating that image with intent to harass the person depicted in the image. And we will get to that shortly.
And you mentioned something, that it was typically a misdemeanor. He was charged with a felony, though.
He was initially charged with a felony. Absolutely. And the penalties for violating that are even more stringent. I did not look at the Minnesota laws for that, but this was a very, very crazy time. So now he's basically pending trial, and he ends up making this plea deal. And now that we understand the penalties, even for the reduced charge of the misdemeanor, this plea deal is pretty darn sweet, right? He basically says that I will plead guilty for $50, a $50 fine, no restitution, no contact with Kayla, and he's not going to go to jail.
Yep, and there'll be a probation period that the judge will determine.
Absolutely.
At the sentencing hearing. But yeah, so he worked out with the prosecutor and his attorney this plea deal, and this was back in April. So the arrest is after Labor Day. He gets hauled off to jail, bonds out, has the conditional release. A lot of months go by. The law moves very slow. Legal process moves very slow. And he puts together this plea deal where he's like, you guys all thought I was going to jail or something crazy was going to happen. Turns out I have this plea deal and everything's going to be great. And he goes on his show and he brags about that and talks about how this is all over with, guys. I'm just going to go to my sentencing hearing. The judge is going to agree with this plea bargain. I'll pay $50 and then we'll never talk about it again.
He is bragging. Everybody has been so wrong about him getting all these punishments. He is just getting a hand slap. Everything is going to be great. And exactly, you are completely right. He's going everywhere. He says this in so many episodes. It's almost crazy.
And the way he says it is so frustrating for people because he's trying to say, guys, what I did was wrong. And I know it was wrong. And so, listen, I have to pay this fine and I have to live with what I've done. But, if you want to say this is a big victory for me, considering it was a felony and I'm not pleading guilty to a felony and there won't be any jail time. I'm not saying it's a victory, but a lot of people are saying that. So I could see why they would say that. Basically, he's taking a victory lap over this plea deal before it's official, before the judge actually sentences him.
What I think that a lot of people in the Dabbleverse have learned about the law recently, and because of this specific incident, is that nothing is final until the judge says that it is final.
Yes.
Just because you have agreed upon something does not mean that the court will then so order it. We need to wait until the judge is actually saying, yes, even though all of you guys agree about this, I agree too. And we all know that that is not what ends up happening here. But let's first listen to him boasting about this wonderful plea deal that he got.
I see this as this. I did a stupid thing. I did a really dumb, idiotic thing that I never should have done. And rather than, I mean, look, there were no witnesses that were coming to this thing. If I wanted to go all the way to the trial, we could have. But I did a dumb thing, and I should take responsibility for the dumb thing I did. And what we agreed on is I'm very happy with it. I will pay a $50 fine, and then nothing else in life will change. That's it. Plead guilty to a misdemeanor, $50 fine. They read it out loud in court today. It's all done.
But it's not.
It's not all done, Aaron. It's definitely not all done. In fact, that's when he decides to go on vacation, right? Yes. So this is what you were referencing earlier. So will you explain that to everybody?
Yeah, so he gets permission to leave the state. He has to ask the judge. They give him permission. And he decides, I'm going to take a nice long weekend with my girlfriend down in Florida, where he reads kiwi farms for about 80% of the time that they're down there. But whatever, he's having fun, he's relaxing, he's enjoying his vacay. And Aaron decides, because he's a radio guy. And if you know anything about a morning radio show, if you're on vacation, there still has to be something to fill that time slot, fill that airtime. And so sometimes they'll play best ofs, like Aaron was doing this week on his show while he was in jail. Other times they get fill-in hosts who do the show without you. And Aaron says, I know what I'll do. I'll get my friends, Keanu and Gino, to be fill-in hosts for me on Thursday and Friday while I'm down in Florida on vacation. And he has been filling Gino with all of this information about how horrible of a person Kayla is. What a filthy, filthy whore this Kayla is. Mother of 5, wife of Nick Rekieta. And so Gino takes the opportunity as the fill-in host. Now, of course, Aaron can't talk about Kayla because of, obviously, the orders he's under.
Yep.
But he thinks that, like, Gino, have at it. Sweet. I get Gino. I'm not even there. Gino can say whatever the fuck he wants. Now, the problem is the conditions were disparaging comments on any show that you're on or control.
Yes.
So this is
and
on
of course,
his channel.
It was on Steel Toe Morning Show, which Aaron controls.
Yes. And he let Gino go on there and let Gino speak a lot of disparaging comments about Kayla. And so this was obviously seen and documented and handed over to the judge, who then saw this, and it was recognized not long after that Aaron had broken the conditions of his release.
Yeah. Whoopsie doodle. Oh no. Oh no. It was a little, I mean, he still will spin it into being a win for the toe, but I think we can all agree as logical humans that this was not so much a win. So he ends up being an idiot again and again and again. And in May of 2025, he goes to court in order to discuss his existing plea deal. After bragging about this amazing deal, but the judge at this point has already seen his missteps. The judge has seen all of the missteps, and that Aaron continuously keeps messing up and talking about Kayla and allowing other people to talk about Kayla on his channel. And so Aaron, instead of having this easy peasy court hearing, he goes to jail for a second time, which leads us to mugshot number 2.
Now, I'll just correct you real quick. It was supposed to be in May. It got pushed back to June 25th.
That's right. Yes.
So
yes.
June 25th, he's going for a sentencing hearing. And the days leading up to that and that morning on his show, he goes, today, I can't wait for today. It's the day I've been waiting for.
Perfect.
The judge is just going to be like, yep, here's the plea deal. You got it. We'll figure out probation, but I don't even care. It doesn't matter. Not going to change my life at all. You guys all thought I was going to go to jail. You're idiots. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, you guys wanted me to go to jail? Sorry. Too bad. He's being a smug prick.
No. Yeah.
Being a total smug prick about it.
Yeah.
Even though we knew that he broke the conditions of his release and that was filed with the court. And Aaron literally, I don't know what his attorney's up to, but I guess he talked to his attorney about it. The attorney goes, it's too late now. It's too late now. The sentencing hearing is already set for June 25th. And Aaron goes, look, if they were going to take me to jail, they would have taken me to jail by now. Like, why would they wait? So obviously I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to get my $50 fine and move on. And boy, was he right.
The way that he describes that also is, my attorney didn't want to tell me about it right now, probably because everything's okay.
Right,
He doesn't want to distract
worry.
me. He doesn't want me to. He doesn't want me to get distracted before I do my show because he knows that I'm a broadcaster.
So he goes in for his sentencing hearing that's scheduled for 15 minutes. Going to be easy peasy. We'll all say our little pieces. I'll pay my fine. We'll move on. And the judge goes, oh no, this is serious. You're not understanding what this is. You have broken the release conditions multiple times, the judge says. And I am not going to accept this plea deal. So in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the sentencing hearing off to October 2nd. So we go from June 25th to October 2nd, and they send Aaron right back into jail, which is hilarious.
It really, truly.
I don't root for people to go to jail. I don't think Aaron should have spent any time in jail, and I'd much rather than be broadcasting. But it makes this story so much more compelling and funny that he got his second mugshot for the same crime, but obviously the release conditions, he couldn't handle that.
He can't handle them. And now at this point, he has just left jail. He just finished serving his sentence. And now he's going to have to not talk about her still, which is never going to happen. There is no way.
Okay, so here's what happens next. I don't know if you're ready to go there.
Go ahead.
Okay, so now he's got from June 25th to October 2nd to stop talking about any of this drama or any of the shit that can get him into more trouble. So he comes back on the 26th and says, guys, we're going back to the old style Steel Toe show. We're just talking about the news. We're just talking about what interests me. We're not talking about drama. I know you guys want to hear about what's going on with the Ricadas and Melton and all this stuff. We're not talking about any of that. Meanwhile, he's taking out HROs on Nick Ricada and Patrick Melton over the next week. And so he's causing more drama, more things people are talking about, more gay ops and lawfare, all the words that he likes to use. He's the one who's perpetuating this. And he actually does do a good job of not bringing up Kayla, not letting anyone on the show bring up Kayla.
Absolutely.
He's understanding it now. He's like, okay, I got to be cool about this.
He realizes that the hand slap was not so much a hand slap if he didn't abide by the terms of the hand slap.
Yes. So then, end of July, he's doing his big 11th anniversary show. He loves
a very important year.
He loves celebrating anniversaries, this guy, any chance he gets. So he's doing this live show at Stoney's and Rockville, Minnesota, at this bar.
And he has lots of stand-up comedians come and do sets.
He pays $3,000 to fly in, well, more than $3,000, to fly in Gino and Keanu to perform at this show. So Aaron and Johnny Crutches, they do sets, and then Keanu comes up, and then the headliner is Gino. And Gino goes up and talks mad shit about Kayla Ricada for a lot of his set, a good portion of his set.
Oh,
yeah. Calling her a whore. It's crazy.
Yep.
Now, they weren't broadcasting this. It wasn't being streamed on Aaron's channel or anything like that. However, Schizo Sean was there recording the audio of it. And then that got out, and all of our shows played a lot of Gino's set, especially Nobody Likes Onions. Patrick Melton played all of the interesting parts of Gino's stand-up set that was very disparaging to Kayla Ricada, the one person you can't talk about if you're anywhere near Aaron Imholte and you like him.
Yes.
If you're his friend, that's the one thing you don't want to talk about.
And Gino should know that at this point.
Yes, he should.
Gino should absolutely know that at this point. And you are exactly right. When Patrick from NLO watches this clip, this is like one of my favorite moments of Patrick. So I just want us to listen to a little bit of Gino's stand-up and then see Patrick's reaction to it because it's amazing. That didn't play at all, did it?
Who will post naked could be anyone like this. Yeah. Right? Like a fucking twatsicle without make up a number of kids, 1 or 2. No, it would never go to 5. We would have 5 kids like a unsucking quad stick.
Oh.
I
Is this
love
about
his-
Kayla?
I love that.
Who would have 5 kids like a cunt-sucking twatsicle? Is this about Kayla? Kayla and Nick have 5 kids. Oh, no.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
Yeah, so that's where
It's not
obviously there was a big misstep, and Aaron after that show immediately was bragging about it and how great it was, and how much fun everybody had. He didn't know that it was recorded, and then that came out, and all of a sudden Aaron's just like, "Listen, man, I was drunk. I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't even in the room at the time. I was outside talking to my buddy when Gino was up there, even though you can hear Aaron screaming, 'Stop it,' or something like that from the crowd or from the side of the stage at a certain point during Gino's set.
Yeah.
And Gino also puked on himself or near himself, whatever it was. So Gino was drunk. So none of them are in any control over this, while Aaron has the sentencing hearing coming up October 2nd. All of this is ill-advised.
Extremely, extremely ill-advised. It is a violation to end all violations. And again, at this point, nothing has been set in stone. So talking about this, anything relating to this, is the worst possible choice that you can be making. And Aaron is making this choice again and again and again, and it is continuously involving Gino. Gino has been his great friend and his worst enemy all in the same breath.
And if you watch Gino on his streams, and people will call him out and be like, "Dude, what are you doing to your buddy Aaron? You know, you keep talking about Kayla. It's not helping him out." And Gino never grasped this concept that he might be sending his friend to jail for his actions. And he did. But Gino to this day will be like, what's the difference, man? I can call this chick a whore. It's like, well, no, you got to remember, Kayla Mercade's not a public figure. You can get away with a lot of shit talking about a lot of people as long as they put themselves out there. But if you have Kayla, who's just like, no, that was a private photo that was sent to you, and now you call me a whore all over the place, and that's defamation, and it's
not great.
It's not good.
Yeah.
And Gino to this day cannot grasp this concept. It keeps running his mouth, and it's only harming his friend Aaron. Who's still his friend, by the way, because Aaron is friendless. Anyone who will associate with him, he's just like, cool, all right, I'll be friends with this guy. Yeah, that guy is
Aaron
nothing but trouble.
renounced him. Aaron renounced him in court.
Yes.
And then he still took him back because that's how desperate he is.
Yeah.
He will take anybody who is not doing drugs or fucking his wife. And he might take the people who are fucking his wife. It's hard to say, in fact. Let's go ahead into September. So September is another very exciting month, the end of September. Now, we're getting a lot of things happening in rapid succession in September. We get, if you're looking at the actual court documents, we get a second violation that gets confirmed just before the scheduled sentencing hearing.
Oof.
In addition to that, Aaron's attorney files documents in this case relating to other cases about the HRO, or harassment restraining order, which he has against Nick Rekieta. And the reason that those documents get filed within this case is because Aaron is trying to stop Nick from coming to court to support his wife, Kayla, aka the victim in this case.
Yeah.
Which is petty. My God, that's petty. And really what I think that that's about, and I'm sure that everybody has already analyzed this, but Aaron still is probably in love with her in the same way that he's still in love with Gino. This is true torture for him, is that the husband of the guy that he's still into and still loves and has ruined his life is going to stop him from somehow winning her back, I
Did
guess.
you say the husband of the guy that he's into? Is that what you just said?
It might have been a slip of the
Freudian
tongue.
slip?
Yeah.
So I have a different take on this. I don't know that Aaron has feelings for Kayla or gives a shit about her.
Okay.
I think that Aaron does have feelings. He's a very emotional guy. He's making all these missteps because he's such an emotional little child. It's all about revenge against Nick Rekieta.
Yeah.
Nick Rekieta took his wife. If Aaron was in love with Kayla like he claimed to be, and he was in love with April at the time before that, Nick took both of them from him. So this is his mortal enemy right here.
Yeah.
And now Nick is showing up to the courtroom where Aaron's being sentenced for this revenge porn case. And the first time it happened, and Aaron was sent to jail, this June 25th date we talked about, the next morning, Aaron got up and went to the courthouse and filed an HRO against Nick Rekieta, even though Nick lives an hour away from him and wants nothing to do with them, does not harass him in real life or anything like that. But the judge granted 1,000 feet from Aaron at all times because that's what judges do. They're like, oh, you feel like you're being harassed or you're being threatened? Fine. All right, we'll file this for you. So what Aaron's really concerned about here, the reason why the HRO got brought up in this for this next court date, is that Aaron is very upset that his mortal enemy is going to watch him get sentenced and watch him take an L here. And there's Nick in the courtroom observing this. This is, for Aaron's pride and ego, he can't take it. It's too much.
Yeah.
He's losing this battle.
I think that you have a lot of great insight on that. Absolutely.
You don't have to patronize me. Lucy, we're still friends.
I've been wrong about everything tonight. I gotta give it up to the men. I gotta give it up to the men. Come on. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So anyway, so that's why that got entered into this, because Aaron does not want Nick Rekieta in the courtroom. He's very scared about Patrick Melton being in the courtroom and Schizo Sean and a number of these characters that are detractors of his. And this does not fly. So they go, no, Nick can definitely be in the courtroom. Like, if you feel like you need a restraining order against this guy, the one place you're probably really fucking safe is in the courtroom.
So safe.
Yeah.
So safe.
And also, Aaron has talked so many times, this is kind of getting off of what we're talking about here with Aaron going to jail, but Aaron has talked so many times about how he could kick Nick's ass. He's not afraid of Nick. He wishes Nick would come and confront him. He'd make him part of his driveway if he came to this house. And then he takes out a restraining order against him and goes, because I got to watch a lot of it on Zoom, the initial hearing on this, he's like, oh, I'm scared of Nick. He might come to my house and hurt me. So Aaron's a liar, and he's being a total bitch boy about this because it's all about his feelings. It's all about getting his feelings hurt. And he hates the fact that his enemy is going to get over on him in front of everyone to see. We're all observing this.
Yeah, we sure are. We really, truly are. And again, it's not only observation in those court hearings, in those Zoom meetings, it's everybody discussing it. It's also Aaron talking about it and then everybody analyzing that. We really, truly do get to see this from every single angle. And again, with Nick Rekieta now sharing more and more details about this time period, we're getting to see it over there as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's an incredibly thorough story. There are hundreds upon probably thousands of hours of footage to watch in order to fully understand the entire thing. That being said, of course, Aaron does end up getting sentenced, and he is sentenced to 15 days in Stearns County Jail, which ends up getting reduced to 8 days. I know you have done a lot of research on that. I don't really understand how Minnesota law works, but it
kind of doesn't matter.
It's boring.
The point is that he was sentenced to jail.
Yes.
And it's almost impossible to believe that he would do jail time for sending a photo of Kayla to Gino while he's podcasting.
Yeah.
It's unheard of. He had to fuck up so many different ways in order for this to happen. And so he was sentenced to 15 days in jail, $1,000 fine, as well as up to 2 years of probation, which there's another 350 days of jail looming over his head. So if he fucks up again, which he's proven he does time and time again, he could end up back in the pokey for that. That's looming over his head. He also has to take these classes. He has to take these courses. And I believe that the courses are called something like Think Before You Act or something like that. Like, they're basically telling him, like, you're a child who's emotional and you make decisions without being rational and being a rational adult and thinking it through. So we're going to try to teach you how to take a beat and give it some thought before you just act on shit. There you go.
Yeah.
There's the third mugshot Patrick pointed this out on TLP today. There are serial killers that just have one mugshot. This fucking guy has 3 mugshots from this
he
one
keeps
crime.
winning and winning and winning. It's a great collection. Somebody's going to make artwork out of this one day. It's going to be
imagine?
I mean, people probably already have, but it's going to be hanging on walls someday.
Imagine this goober entering into Gen Pop. You think he was popular when he was in jail? I can't wait to hear what he says about it.
Listen, he's going to be jacked. He's going to have made so many friends. He was the life of the party. The food was way better than he thought it was going to be.
Yep. He was the funny one. Everyone loved him. He's now in the Crips and the Bloods. Yep.
It's going to be absolutely outstanding for him. There is no way, because that is just who he is. He is somebody who always wins. Now, I think that the best way for us to kind of finish up this episode is to just talk about him addressing the court, right? Because we've already mentioned several times that Gino seems to be maybe not the root cause of all the issues. The root cause of all the issues is Aaron himself.
Yep.
But Gino is always someplace lurking in the background. And so as Imholte addressed the court, he says, in 2023, I entered into a degenerate, toxic relationship that never should have happened. I regret it, and I am going to therapy. I want to teach my son to be a better man. Words cannot express how sorry I am. He's referring to Kayla there. We loved each other at the time. I would be so offended by that if I was the victim in this. Those feelings were betrayed by my actions. I've been laughed about, and this is my reality. If the court shows me mercy today, Gino Bisconti will never work for me again.
And what if they don't? You guys going to team up and start a show?
They're going to be best buds. Oh my God, it's going to be so great.
What kind of threat is that? Why would the court give a fuck?
Well,
Jesus
listen,
Christ.
Well,
we can't have you two teaming up. So
broadcasting works.
Yeah. So
it's a very important thing over here. It's absolutely amazing. This is such a big story. We didn't even get into the cum licking. We didn't even get into the wonderful karaoke he was doing at Stoney's. There is too much. We didn't get
into him like showing all of a sudden on social media him spending time with his children and what a great relationship he had with his children, only because Nick's children were taken away.
He's the best dad in the whole dang world.
There's so many things that we just pass through quickly because it's a long story and there's a lot to tell. We wanted to get from meeting the Ricadas to now in jail and how that happened over about 2 years' time.
Yes. Which is not only did this happen in about 2 years' time, but almost all of the crazy events are 2025.
Yeah.
That's truly the craziest part about the story, is that we have just had this succession of event after event after event after event. And it feels like it's never going to die down, because we all know that Aaron is probably going to be streaming tomorrow and probably going to be saying some crazy shit. And the internet will be picking it apart for any possible missteps that he has.
He really needs to, when we talked to Kelly, Ghost of Cabby on the show today, and Ghost of Cabby's a former law enforcement, and he's seeing this time and time again with these guys who are on probation. They slip up and they just keep fucking themselves. And he said it best. He goes, Aaron just needs to get off the internet.
Yeah.
He can't help himself. He's going to violate probation again. It just keeps happening to him. And he talks way too much.
Kelly was also describing the concept of a lot of people will choose to not have probation because they know that they cannot abide by the terms of it, and they will accept a larger jail sentence in order to avoid that. And I think that probably would have been a better idea for Aaron. At that point, it was taken out of his hands because the judge already denied his plea deal. But that probably would have been more viable for him, because there's just no way that he is ever going to be able to meet the standards of what he is expected to do. In fact, the court.
According to him, Lucy, it's done, and he's moving on, and nothing changed in his life, and he's done his time.
I think that he said that in April. I think that he said that in June. I think that he said that in September. There's been a couple of times that I feel like he has said that.
Yeah.
He is never going to catch a break here. So we do have a few more super chats to get into, but Karl,
he's never going to catch a break here, you say. He can't help himself. All of his problems are his own doing.
It's true. Yeah. He is 100% at fault for all of this, and he blames nobody but himself, or everybody but himself.
Well, it's funny because, he has said that the prosecutor's corrupt, the judge is corrupt. There's a conspiracy against him because he has different political views than they do, and they know that from his radio show, and so they did this to stick it to him, and he's going to go after the prosecutor, and the whole system is fucked, and you're guilty until proven innocent. Like, he has explained that he's the victim time and time again. It's almost to the point where you think the guy is insane because you're like, no, there's an actual victim and you're doing jail time, and yet he can't stop himself.
Let me make a point here, Karl. You were wrong about him before. Is it possible that you're wrong about him again?
Yes.
And that really he is right about everything and that everybody else is the one who is wrong?
It's possible I'm wrong about everything. Likely even.
I don't think that that's the case. I think that Aaron is in the wrong here. Karl, before we get into our last couple of super chats, will you please tell everybody all about who are these podcasts and other places where people can support you?
Whoarethese.com is where you can find all things about my podcast, Who Are These Podcasts. I do a show, Who Are These Socials, with my buddy Blind Mike as well. We break down social media. And I'm involved in a lol suit right now with Stuttering John Melendez. It's a frivolous lawsuit. And so if you want to support that, you can go to fightthedabbler.com. Dr. Steve set up a GoFundMe for us, which has been helpful because we have a great attorney, and great attorneys do not come cheap, unfortunately.
Yes, absolutely. Go to fightthedabbler.com, a wonderful cause to support. All right, our last couple of super chats here. Wes Little, $4.99. Thank you so much. Lucy, beautiful as always. Karl, you are a sweet boy. Y'all make me happy.
Don't tell anyone that, Wes.
That's so nice.
I'm going to spread that rumor.
Tug Simp, $2. We are getting lots of this wrong. Yes, that is true. I 100% got lots and lots of things wrong. I'm going to say that Karl makes me nervous. That's what I'm going to blame it on.
God damn it.
I got to have a win for the Lucy today, so it was all Karl's fault all along. For sure. For sure. Sorcerer $9.99. Thank you so much. My job is in part to develop a trust so that people discuss details of their lives with the goal to understand themselves. This saga is the antithesis of that. No wonder it has led to sorrow. Yes, always very thoughtful over there, Sorcerer. Thank you so much. Weird comment 5. The big difference is I would have given more knowing 90% was going to the creator right now. Have fun, ladies. Yes, that is true. Supertips.gg /WATP is a great place to go if you would like to make sure that 90% is going over to the creator. I don't do that here. Hate Monger $4.99. The only thing you should be telling the police unless you're a victim of a crime is I will not be answering any questions without my attorney present. Yes. Instead, Gino just yelled and laughed when he talked to the cops. And Keanu didn't help either. But at least they know that they were just engaged, not married. That was the important part that the cops understand. Matthew Rowley, $5. This is awesome. It's just like the best parts of WATP without any of the bad parts, except for Karl being there. Of course.
I see what you did there, Matthew.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Well, thank you again, Karl, so very much for coming and joining me. I appreciate you very much on helping me get through this story, since I clearly messed up some of the aspects, but I think we had fun anyway.
Thanks
right?
for having me, Lucy. I love the Lucy Does Dabbleverse series. I love your quickies that you're doing, I love everything you're doing regarding the lol suit. So I appreciate being on this channel and being on with you.
Absolutely. It was a true honor to have you. And thank you guys also very much for watching. And I will see y'all soon. Bye.